All right, let's jump right into this explainer of Robert Frost's poem, Dust of Snow. If you're someone who thinks poetry has to be, pages and pages of dense text just to say something profound, well, prepare to have your mind completely changed. Today, we're unpacking an absolute literary masterpiece that manages to create a massive shift in human consciousness using just a handful of words. Picture this for a second. Recall a time when you were just stuck in a completely terrible, gloomy mood. Everything was going wrong, you were spiraling in negative thoughts, and you felt totally defeated. And then, out of nowhere, something tiny and seemingly random happened. Maybe a stranger smiled at you, or a sudden cool breeze hit your face, and bam, it completely turned your day around. It snapped you right out of your funk. That universal, incredibly relatable human experience, that is exactly what we are exploring today.
Let's get right into our first section, a bad day transformed. To really ground ourselves in this explainer, let's look at the very first stanza. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. Right out of the gate, Frost hits us with this bleak, cold winter scene. The speaker is outside, completely wrapped up in a heavy, sorrowful headspace. He's having a miserable day trudging through the snow, and you can practically feel that sullen atmosphere weighing him down.
But then, everything flips in the second stanza. Has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. By the way, that word rude just means held in regret. So Frost is telling us that this sudden physical contact with the fine, powdery snow instantly shifted his entire perspective. It's like an immediate reset button that rescues the rest of his day from being a total wash.
So how does this actually work? Let's move to our next section, the core event.
When you strip away the beautiful poetry for a second, what's literally happening here? It's basically 4 steps. Step 1, a guy goes for a gloomy walk under a tree. Step 2, a crow shifts its weight on a branch. Step 3, some snow dust falls on him. And step 4, his mood is instantly lifted. It is a remarkably simple, almost trivial event. It's so ordinary that most of us wouldn't even register it if it happened to us. But Frost uses this everyday reality to show us that profound moments don't always arrive with thunder and lightning. Sometimes they just arrive as a quiet dusting of snow.
Now let's dig into the imagery in our next section, dark symbols, bright outcome. The really crucial thing to catch here is Frost's completely unconventional choices for the elements in this scene. He could have chosen anything, right? If you look at traditional romantic poetry, think William Wordsworth, poets usually lean on beautiful, uplifting things to show joy. Singing nightingales, majestic oak trees, vibrant summer days. But Frost? He goes the exact opposite route. He deliberately selects dark, depressing imagery, a crow, a poisonous hemlock tree, and the dead of winter. He is literally using the symbols of gloom to deliver a message of hope.
Take the hemlock tree, for instance. A hemlock is a poisonous evergreen. It's famously tied to the poison used in the execution of the ancient philosopher Socrates, and in literature it's a massive symbol of sorrow and death. And this perfectly illustrates Frost's irony. The very thing bringing redemption, healing, and a renewed appreciation for life is falling directly from a tree that literally symbolizes death. It's a brilliant subversion of our expectations as readers.
And then, of course, there's the crow. Across literature and myth, the crow is traditionally an ill omen. It's a symbol of bad luck, despair, and let's be honest, it's often considered one of the ugliest, most abrasive-sounding birds out there. Yet in Frost's hands, this harbinger of doom becomes the unexpected hero. It's the crow's movement that shakes the snow and saves the poet's day. Frost is basically telling us that positive change doesn't only come from traditionally beautiful sources. It can hit you from the darkest, most unexpected places.
Let's shift gears and look at the technical side in our next section, Mastering the Craft.
Frost isn't just telling a nice story here. He's building it like a master architect. Let's look at a few of these techniques, starting with synecdoche. That's a poetic device where a part is used to represent the whole. When Frost writes that the falling snow has given my heart a change of mood, he isn't just talking about the biological organ in his chest. He's using his heart to represent his entire emotional state, his mind and his total physical being. The snow didn't just touch his coat, it altered his entire existence in that split second. Next up is enjambment. This is what happens when sentences run right into the next line without any end-stop punctuation, like periods or commas. If you look at the text, the entire 8-line poem is just one fluid, continuous sentence. Why did Frost do this? Because it perfectly mimics the sudden,
unbroken, continuous motion of the falling snow itself. The physical structure of the poem literally reflects the natural event it's describing. How cool is that?
Then we have assonance, which is the repetition of a vowel sound throughout a line. Look at the phrase, shook down on me. Do you hear those prominent long O sounds? Shook down on. That is not an accident. That repetition creates this rhythmic, almost hypnotic beat that physically slows the reader down, forcing us to pause and actually feel the weight of the snow and the stillness of that winter air.
Now, what's truly wild is seeing just how many different literary tools Frost seamlessly packs into such a confined space. He uses alliteration, repeating consonant sounds like the H in Has Given My Heart and the S in Saved Some Part. He uses metaphor by comparing the mass of snowflakes to fine dust. And my personal favorite, he uses understatement. He doesn't dramatically claim the crow changed his entire life forever. He simply says it saved some part of a day he had rued. It makes the relief feel so much more realistic, grounded, and universal.
And here's the kicker. He does absolutely all of this. The profound emotional shift, the deep symbolism, the complex literary devices, using exactly 34 words. Just 34 words. It is an absolute masterclass in brevity. Frost absolutely proves that you do not need a sprawling epic to capture the depths of the human experience.
All right, let's step back for our final section, the bigger picture.
Zooming out from the literary mechanics, what is this poem actually trying to teach us about how we navigate the world? Well, one massive takeaway is Frost's view of nature. Notice how he doesn't view nature as some preachy, moralizing teacher. The crow didn't drop the snow on purpose to cheer the poet up. Nature is largely indifferent. But that's the beauty of it. Its random, accidental acts can organically snap us out of our own heads. The healing is just a free favor, provided simply by us being present enough to receive it.
And that highlights the massive impact of small, seemingly trivial moments on our mental health. Ultimately, this poem is a masterclass in gratitude. It teaches us not to take those tiny moments of relief for granted. When we're trapped in our own petty problems and sorrow, just observing the simple serenity of nature can be incredibly rewarding. It reminds us that our bad moods are temporary and a shift in perspective is always, always possible. It's actually pretty fascinating to track how this tiny poem evolved in the public eye, too. It was originally published back in 1920 under the title of Favor. Then, in 1921, it was retitled to Snow Dust. Finally, in 1923, it took its final form as Dust of Snow in Frost's famous collection, New Hampshire. And get this, just a year later, in 1924, that very collection won the Pulitzer Prize, a monumental achievement for a collection featuring a poem of just 34 words.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with the challenge based on Frost's wisdom. What will your dust of snow moment be today? I highly encourage you to keep your eyes open. Pay attention to those ordinary, seemingly insignificant details around you, because you never know when an accidental favor from the world might just fall on your shoulders and save the rest of your day. Keep learning, keep looking up, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.